and how your partners, your sales agents, your distributors are doing that, what they're thinking about, what work goes into it, and what they're trying to achieve in doing that. Please let me introduce to you Agustina. You probably all know her. Can you wave? Fernanda de Nido, producer, originally from Argentina, based in Spain. Emily Saris from Wild Bunch International. I think some of you already met her, or all of you, I don't know. My name is Aranka. I will be moderating, kind of taking you through this. The way that we decided we're going to do this is we're going to look at a couple of films that are from different, different directors, different countries in Latin America and Mexico. And we use these as examples. They're all films that all of these women have worked on. So they will be talking to each of them. Before we start, you probably have seen some of them, maybe not all of them. We're going to show you the trailers of what we have. It's about 6 minutes, so a little bit of a breezer, but not too much.
Go to your patients' funerals?
Sometimes, yes.
I just want to ask you a couple of questions about my aunt.
I'm sorry.
This is David. Can you say hi, David?
Fuck you, Mildred. You married?
No.
It's better. Women are unbearable.
Take me to chemo. I don't need any more for now.
You watch a movie?
That's art.
When did you get back?
2 days ago.
Are you staying?
Yeah.
Do you think of him?
I'm not doing it anymore. If you care for me, then help me. If you helped your son, why not?
Do you think it would have been different if we found out before?
¿Personaje secundario? ¿Yo? No, no, señor. ¿Por qué te voy a agarrar? Han pasado solo 3 años desde el fin de la Segunda Guerra Mundial. Y aquí está a punto de empezar una persecución fabulosa.
Con ustedes, el poeta Pablo Neruda.
Puedo escribir los versos más tristes esta noche.
Dicen que Neruda es el comunista más importante del mundo.
Soy perseguido en el último sitio del mundo donde yo hubiese querido que eso ocurriera, aquí en Chile.
Muy buenas tardes, señor presidente.
¿Conoce usted a Neruda?
No, yo. Sí, señor.
Atrápelo y humíllelo. Vamos a pasar a la clandestinidad.
Lo siento mucho, pero no lo puedo dejar salir del país.
Te quiero, poeta. Te quiero. No te imaginas cuánto te quiero. ¿Dónde estará? No sabemos.
Me voy a convertir en su peor pesadilla.
¿Querés que te encuentren?
Me gustaría sentirlos más cerca.
Tiene que estar en alguna parte.
Tienes razón.
En esta ficción todos giramos alrededor del protagonista. Tiene un principal y un secundario.
Lo que pasa es que usted quiere un escape grandioso.
Para eso luchamos, camarada.
Lo único que le pido es que sea un poco más humilde.
El artista soy yo. El artista aquí soy yo.
En las novelas, el policía persigue al asesino hasta el final. Quiero ser testigo de tu muerte. Y voy a ser personaje principal.
Esto tiene que ser una cacería salvaje.
Depois de 20 anos, eu resolvi fazer essa muqueca para homenagear o Dado, nosso defensor da Amazônia.
Mãe, deixa eu te falar uma coisa. Se meu pai te deixou, não tem nada a ver com isso.
Não, você vai me ouvir. Eu dei um basta naquele folgado que vivia às minhas costas.
Posso te falar uma coisa? Você tá perdendo seu tempo.
Você foi concebida na minha viagem a Cuba e o Homero não estava lá. Você é filho do Homero.
Você continua sendo minha irmã, viu? 100%.
Eu abri mão da minha vontade de escrever. Escrever uma peça, de ser dramaturga. Entendeu? Eu fico escrevendo folders de cerâmica de banheiro. Do que você abriu mão, Dado?
Sabe há quantos anos eu não bato uma bola com meus amigos no final de semana?
A transgressão, meu filho, a transgressão quando você assume, ela te faz uma pessoa muito melhor. Toda a vida falou comigo com um chicote na mão, Rosa. Mas é assim mesmo, chega um determinado momento que a definição de mãe no dicionário é aquela que não sabe nada.
Okay. So what we'll do, we'll start with Neruda, and Fernanda will start. She'll start by introducing herself a little bit. I'm sure a lot of people know you already. And then she will talk about the film, the experience specifically from the perspective of having been the producer on it. So just bear that in mind as we're going through this, that we have different perspectives on it, and depending who you're working with, they will have different interests, different agendas, and you need to communicate slightly differently as a producer. Okay, Fernanda.
Thank you. Hi, good morning. My name is Fernanda del Nido. I have a Spanish company based in Barcelona, Setembre Cine, and I specialize in the last 10 years working with, or 15 years, working with Latin America, co-producing or mainly producing from Spain. In the case of Neruda, it was special to all of us. We were 5 producers, 5 partners. Even the nationality, it's Chile, France, Spain, and Argentina, was also a partner from the US. And one of them was also the sales agent. So he was, this work was really done all together and in the same process. And it was very interesting for us. I think it was also, yeah, we learned a lot also to have the US partner also, yeah, commenting on all the process. I bring something to share with you here that it was especially regarding the marketing and how to present the film. There was something in particular that happened, is that we shoot more material that we thought that we were going to shoot. So when we finished the shooting, there was still a process to be done regarding what was exactly the film that Pablo was to launch. And in fact, we really postponed the editing was really much longer than it was planned to. From the very beginning, we thought we wanted to present it in Cannes. That was our aim. That's why we finished the shooting in August. But of course, it was not our idea to really finish the film, really to be ready to Cannes. So when we finished I bring some material, a small teaser that we did just after the shooting. We knew that the material was amazing, but still on this kind of presentation of more like a cat and mouse kind of persecution, how to say, yes, searching. And we definitely changed from the beginning. We prepared this material. It's only in Spanish because we did it for very specific, it was a big negotiation that we were having at that moment with Spanish investors, and also in Chile and Latin America, and also for Fox. So it's a very specific material that we did. And yeah, please, thank you. It's not working? Or? No. Oh, yeah. No, it's okay.
La casa de madera queda en el fin del mundo, en el valle central de Chile, en la base de la cordillera de los Andes. Han pasado solo 3 años desde el fin de la Segunda Guerra Mundial, y aquí, en esta casa alegre, está a punto de empezar una persecución fabulosa. Personaje secundario. Yo no, porque te voy a agarrar. Es una misión difícil. No hay que olvidar que Neruda es un hombre formidable.
Okay, so maybe quickly to put it into context. So you're in post. You're pretty much done with your edit, or
just starting the editing. It was doing like mostly during the shooting with the material that we were having already. Of course, the script was super clear, but we were a little bit, we were not so clear about how we will present the film. Of course, it was mainly, above all, was a Pablo Larraín film. But yes, this rhythm and tone and cat and mouse kind of persecution was still, I think, a little bit more in our point of view.
And what did you use this little teaser for? What did you do with it?
We just make a super private secret screening during San Sebastian Film Festival for very, very specific buyers. We loved it from the beginning. We were so enthusiastic, and we were already so happy with the material that we were receiving, and we still love it. It was just that, and of course it worked very well with the buyers. It was just when time was passing by, with some of them, it was like, okay, at the end, this is not really the film. So we have to really follow up that process with them.
So, and at that point you were already working with an international sales agent?
Yes, he was always with us.
And
yes.
you decided together who you would show this to?
Yes.
And you showed it to people in select territories, or?
Yes.
You went,
Yes, and in fact, for example, in the case of Fox, Fox Chile was already in. We were but not Spain, and we made it also for them, for example. And at the end, it was not their type of film, for example. So we had to like really change the strategy of distribution in Spain.
Do you want to look at some of the
Yes,
next
please.
steps?
Yes.
So, okay, so you're still editing, you're down the line, now you have a cut, you've submitted the cut to Cannes, you get a yes from Cannes.
Oh, in fact, that was super late, I would say.
Which is one of the reasons why we're going to see what we're going to see. So, okay, so you're done, the film is done, but you're waiting to hear about your festival premiere.
Yes.
And as you're waiting, you're thinking, okay, how are we going to communicate this film to the market?
Yes, exactly. We were having this kind of interesting balance between the French sales agent with a lot of experience and also the sales agent that launched previous Pablo Larraín films, which was very good, and he was one of us, plus the US partner that also was working on this. So we started to work with some posters while we were editing, and the film really changed a lot in these few months. I think this was like February when we started to see test of, it was really late because we were not clear at all. When we started to see draft, this kind of draft, with the idea of playing, the identity of Neruda and
At this point, the story of the film was still shaping, or you
Yes.
were...
I mean, of course, it was clear. We just didn't know exactly how to present it.
Okay,
The film was getting there. It was just, So we wanted Gael to be on the poster, and at the same time, of course, Neruda has to be there, and we want to play with the... Pablo says that both are playing the same character. So we wanted to play with that. I found them so horrible, but
I was going to ask you what were some of the difficulties in coming up with it, because it's easy to look at this now and be like, it doesn't work, but to come up with it in the first place is...
Yeah, I think it was like it was more like, I think we were really worried about it because it was, it's the more feeling that I received, like we were not liking none of them. It was not easy at all, and as you can see, so this kind of
no was a way to yes. No?
These ones are terrible too.
But yeah, I think we can see, and Emily, I think you can hone on this much more, how you're giving it a different tone. I mean, this is clearly something more noir, whereas the previous, I don't know what this is, but...
I was in fact, there were a lot of propositions. As you can see, there are different like designers and concepts, and there's many more. That's the more scary part. This is just a few of them. So yes. For that moment, this was mostly even March. So the film was almost ready. But I mean, the idea of the film. The trailer was in April, was really late. Hands Up did a great job, and we were very happy with that. We know how we wanted to present the film, but we didn't have this image of the poster.
So now we're March, April, so then you hear about your selection, and then you had a poster ready for Cannes?
No, that's the funny part. So we were suffering until the very last moment, until the very last night of the press conference of Cannes. We knew that we were in, but not exactly in which situation. And so we decided to really move into, everyone, the expectation was to see images of the film, so we really, I think like all the investment we did on the trailer, and to really launch the trailer and to look for the trailer, and it was crazy, but we decided to go to Cannes without a poster, what was a torture, because everyone was asking for the poster, and it was like, yeah, no, there is not.
Emily, any thoughts on that?
It's horrible at that moment.
But have you been in that situation where you also said, damn, we don't have a poster, what do we do? Or
Normally we try to avoid this situation because it's really complicated to talk a film without having something to show, and if everyone is not using the same image when they are talking about the movie, it's really complicated for buyers or anyone else to remember what film we are talking about. If you have like image from like a lot of different images in Variety, in Screen, and everywhere a different one, you cannot focus on the film, I think.
Exactly. So what we did is like we choose a picture, and everyone, all the PRs use the same one. So we try to force with one of the pics that everyone pick that one, and for many days we keep it this way, and we wait and we force the situation until Cannes, and then in Cannes we just liberate another, I think was three stills more, nothing else than that. So everyone was at some point using the same. So the press was a little bit complaining because they were asking to have, but it was the only way to do it. And this was the sales flyer. It was like everything was trying not to keep an image, only stills. This one here is the one that we forced at the very beginning to use, and all the press was, so we tried to everyone to pick that one.
So it's again, like also like Emily said, you have everything succinct, coordinated, so wherever your audiences look, they will always have the same visual imagery and be like,
exactly.
That's the one.
Exactly.
Yeah. So then once, so in Cannes you didn't really work with a poster. I seem to remember the blue one. Then what happened afterwards? So the festival is done, you made a number of sales, and then come distribution time. What were the next steps in terms of the visual identity?
So just after that, Chile was the first country releasing, and also there was, of course, a super long process of festivals. So really after Cannes, we really had the international poster. This is the Chilean version, but it's the one that the same that we use for international. And for that moment, I think that we were so desperate before this that we just loved this one. Now we already hate it, but since a long time ago. But for that moment, we were like, yeah, we did it. And it was a completely mistake. Because in fact, it was a disaster. The poster was a complete disaster, especially for Chile and for Spain. Because I did the same. I think everyone was so confusing with all the concepts that even we did the same mistake in Spain, and it was seriously a disaster. It was too dark, so when you go to the cinema, you don't really recognize it or see it. And and in fact, it was like the Chilean producer Juan de Larraín, when we were really about to release in Spain. We did in September, they did in August. He called me saying, it's like a warning, like, it's a mistake, change. And it was like, it was already too late. So
there is a question.
Yes.
Can I ask you a question? As those drafts we've seen and this poster, are they all coming from the same agency?
No,
or different agencies?
different.
We'll come to that in a bit.
No, we have, I don't know, like 150 concepts, different concepts, it's like crazy. That's why, yeah.
Any other questions? Please ask. Yeah, we're so, please. What are we here for? So, shall we look at some other posters?
Yes,
And
please.
then maybe a question is like, how involved were you as a producer in this process? Because now we have distributors dealing with your sales agent, but what say do you have in the matter, and how much do you want to participate, etc., etc.? So, yeah.
Well, I choose this one, the Argentinian one, which is the one in the left, because they had time to make it better. But that was my opinion. I was not believing that it was this. And then I understood from the guys that were promoting the film, that mostly was the television, the national television, Telefe, that they really make this marketing strategy because they found that was the way to bring people, the audience in. And like in television, they did an amazing investment, and it was all the time in television. And it was like a mystery detective. It was this kind of like, you know, mystery kind of 50s film even. It's not, yeah. So for me it was like, why did they do this? But looks like it was having sense for their territory. And this was, it tells you to see that we really choose the same image as international one in Spain. And then I choose this one because it's the ones that I like, the French one and the US one. And yeah, it was so frustrating when they launched the posters. It was like, oh my God, I love them. There's a chance to do it well. It was like, yeah. Yeah. In fact, when we distribute the DVD and Blu-ray in Spain, we make the decision to change the poster, and we take the US version. We adapted for Spanish market, which was crazy, but I hated the other one so much that.
Yeah, why, Emily? Why is that something that you don't see so much? That the visual identity has changed, that the poster is used for the theatrical release, and then maybe the DVD has a completely different poster.
You mean why we don't like that? But because, as we say before, it's easier when the film is identified by everyone. So if you are changing, unless for a big problem, I don't know, like the Kevin Spacey problem right now, when you have to withdraw an actor from the film. Otherwise, you try to keep the same visual, same thing from the beginning to the end.
And you were asking about like how the role, no? Oh, this is the other one that I like very much, the Benelux one. Yeah, it's nice.
Very, very different. What were some of the? I mean, looking back, 2020 is always easier. But what were some of the things where you said, okay, for the next production, this is something I will think about at a much earlier stage, or these are moments where communication with certain partners didn't work? Like, what is sort of advice that you could give on that?
No, in terms of marketing, I think no. Just the challenging thing is like we really were editing like for 5 months, or that's really go us crazy. So I think I will try to have more time. But it was a very specific, I understand, I mean, it was also a process. Pablo Larraín film, a very huge, complicated, 5-country co-production. Yeah. No, in terms of marketing, I think, and of course, on the poster, but for example, it was a very good decision to have the trailer company from the very beginning working with us. That helped a lot. I liked also how we managed with the PRs between the US, France, Spain, and also internationally. So I think that the biggest mistake was the poster. And in Spain, I really suffered a lot about it. It was a huge. We paid very expensively. Yes. It's like a case to say how to do it wrong. Yes.
Maybe it's strange that you guys took someone on board for the trailer at a very early stage and not the poster. That's because sometimes it's in like it's not in that way.
Yes, I think yeah, it's true. I think yes. I think we never thought that we were delayed so much, and also it's of course it's at the same time it was amazing that we did everything because this was not planned. So the editing of Neruda went at the same time that the shooting of Shaki.
Yeah.
Of course you do. So that was okay. So at some point, every one of us of the Neruda crew was like really being supportive of that. That was super important to take care of and to adapt to the situation. That was more or less how I
just to explain to everyone, because Pablo Larraín was doing at the same time, not really at the same time, but quite at the same time, another film called Jackie, which was really like higher budget and more considered as a US movie. So of course, at this moment when you have to deal with like any kind of decision with the director, it's complicated when he's doing two movies at the same time.
Yeah. So he was working in one film in one floor and editing Neruda in the other one in the same building. So Alessandro wants to ask.
Why did you use so many agencies for the poster? Because you were unsatisfied?
Yeah, we were not finding. So it was like receiving suggestions, and also because from the partners, they were like, also like mostly from the US and France and Chile. They were like, okay, let's propose this, and we started to receive too many, I would say.
You start with different, or you start with
It went increasing, I would say. Yeah, I in one moment was like, okay, I'm lost exactly where we have to get, but I really think that we did it wrong.
What was your expectation of the movie? How did the movie finally work in the market? And to what extent do you think this was the main problem, or if there was a problem?
No, internationally, I don't think it was a problem at all, to be honest. It really affects Spain, but also in terms of international sales, it was mostly as we thought. There was a moment that we thought that it might become higher, or that it could be really get higher. But I think it was a good evaluation from the sales agent from the beginning. Probably was a little bit higher at the end. But
explain to the audience what's the way you work with the sales agent in that case.
Yeah.
Beforehand and after?
Okay, the process exactly with him, even if he was one of the partners in his sales agent role, he prepares an estimation of each territory and the figures that he will try to negotiate in each, where he has a top and a bottom, you say? Yeah. And he started to work with this. In this case, what the can before the one that we launched the film, he was already starting to present the film and make it distributors read the script. And we have some kind of pre-sales before, and that was very important for us, in fact, for our financing. And the idea was, in this case, not to push, like not to involve anyone that was not really completely sure of the film that we were doing and that really liked the film. So even in some cases, they really take the time, the needed time to get in the proper distributors of the film. And then what happened was like, when Jackie was announced, it was super good for Neruda too. In some point, make the expectation higher. So it's not that they changed those numbers, but we were like, okay, this can be more close to the top, but this can be better. And that really affects the negotiation. And then more or less was the same when we present the film in Cannes after the first press screening. It was really successful. We really had a very huge impact. And since then, the process went higher. So more or less you have from the beginning, you can follow the process, that what is happening, what is the feeling that they are receiving from the distributors, and the expectation that we may have. So for example, it was sold to China, which is really it's not so common. And yes, it was more or less that. I think, yeah, in this case, Fanny Balloons which is the sales agent, was super careful with all the process, I have to say, and super serious.
Who was the distributor in the US? How was that experience?
Sorry, perdón. You need to ask everybody to ask a question very loud, so everybody can ask and hear, because the translator cannot translate. She cannot hear you.
I asked who was the distributor in the USA and how was that experience?
It was super good because, well, no, it was more like, the thing is like there was a US co-producer, so Participant Media, that was a very solid partner and business partner, and people that we like very much. So in some point it was their territory. So we don't know exactly the detail of how the same like happened with my territory. But they sold it the same day that we present the film to the Orca. I always pronounce it, but yeah, but yes, yeah, and they really fight very hard in the Oscar career. So more or less, it was a, yeah. That's what directly affects to us. Of course, it was yeah.
You said that you are not directly involved, as is often the case when we deal with Americans. They kind of take care of things amongst themselves. But what were you kind of, was there anything that struck you that was different in the conversation or the negotiation that you were doing with them, in terms of how they structure releases or how they're looking at films?
With the distributors, no. We as producers, we don't. I mean, not really. What we do is like, I mean, like we try to concentrate all the information coming through the sales agent, and we try to follow this, and especially, I would say, like for me, the last 3 films I did with Fabula, with the La Rain's company. So more or less we have been like doing this process together. We are very respectful between each other, so we always share ideas, materials, and we try to, yeah, follow the process. But also we know that there's a limit in what we can do in each territory, and we just don't want also to, you know, we want the national territory to be responsible for what they do. We always try to be as much helpful as we can be, sharing whatever might be needed. We really act this way. We understand that that's our job in some point.
Is that your experience, Emily, when you're working with producers, that they are kind of very engaged, that they give you all the material that you ask them for?
It depends, like really, but when it happens like this, it's really nice because you have like real relation and you're discussing. Or it can be a nightmare because you have like only shitty ideas and you have to somehow say yes, even if it's not working for sales.
Questions? Okay. Shall we move on to you? Thank you. Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's move on to the next picture. Michel Franco Chronic.
So,
and voila. Yeah.
Yeah. So I am Emily. I'm working for Wild Bunch, which is an international sales company. In the chronology of the life of the film, I arrived right after you. And so the idea is to sell the movie in some other countries. We decided to talk about Chronique from Michel Franco, which was a film that we took in 2014 and that was in Cannes in 2015. My colleague from the acquisition department was following the director since the Después de Lucia, that was in Cannes, I think 2 years before. Yeah. And since then, I think we were not the only one following that director, because everybody was talking about Después de Lucia, that was a really strong film, new vision of the Latin American movies. So we were really wanted to follow up with him having the next movie. During this Cannes where Después de Lucia was screened, he met with the actor.
Tim Roth.
Tim Roth, thank you. That was in the jury. And this is when these two guys met and they decided to work together in the next one, which is Chronique. So this is the genesis of the film. So for the first time, he's going to work in English. He decided to make the film Chronique in English because he wanted to have Tim Roth, and he made all the story around this character. So we were on board at a very early stage, I mean, since the first draft of the script. We saw a first cut, it was right after Berlin, I think. I don't know if you guys saw the movie, it's very complicated, very strong but complicated. Yeah, so yeah. Very easy to market this. So,
perfect date.
like Jean said last time, like when you are checking on the internet what kind of film you want to see, it's complicated to see, like, let's see a film where people are dying from really bad disease. So the idea is to talk about the film without lying, of course, but to show what is important and what is the message and everything around. So in Berlin, we launched the film. So we were pretty sure the film will go to Cannes at that stage.
Let's just track back. So
Sorry.
the one you picked up the film.
So yeah,
in
we
May
picked up
2014.
No, like I don't remember exactly the date, but we were following anyway. And in March 2015, we saw the first cut. We discussed, of course, about the first cut, especially the end, and some also the moment, because you are following different characters that are in very bad situation. And we say that maybe somehow you can cut something. And so, you know, at this stage, we can still discuss with the producer and the director and give some advices or whatever about the cut. So he can listen to us or not. This is his own decision. Then we had the final cut and no, we didn't have the final cut. Then we go to Berlin with not a teaser, because it's hard to make a teaser with this kind of film, but with just some extract that we choose and that shows the 3 things that we think it's important for the film. So the first one is the relation he has with the first sick patient. The second one is with the old man, because he's quite funny in a way, he's making some jokes. And the other one is the relationship he has with his daughter. So you can decide to promote or to talk about your film in different ways. If you think your film is strong enough, you make like a very small promo, teaser or whatever. If you think the film needs to be long to explain all the steps, you can make like a promo of, it can last like 5 minutes. Or if you think that, like for some art house movie, it doesn't need to have like a real promo, you can take some extract of the film that can show like important thing for you. So this is what we decide for Chronique. So the first market we talked about this film was Berlin. which is the very first market before when the film gonna be released on screen in Cannes. So we arrive in Cannes, in Berlin with the stills, with the extract, and of course with the background of the director.
Did you know at that time that you were selected, or it was still?
No, you don't know 100% sure, but you know that when you're discussing with Cannes, at that stage you can say, yes, there will be like because also of the genesis of the project, when you say Michel Franco decided to work with Tim Roth because they met each other during the Cannes Film Festival, Thierry Fremox will be very happy of that. And we say like, it's a really great story, let's do the film. So we arrive.
Okay, we skipped Cannes.
Okay.
But
so this is what we talked about. This one, yeah, it's a lineup. So this is what we have in front of us, or what we send to the buyers before a market. So it's easier for us to send things like that. So they have like, if they are doing their homeworks, they are at least reading this, having some information in mind. So you say like written and directed by Michel Franco. You see like for people who doesn't know, like after Lucia, winner, Un certain regard, Cannes, blah blah blah. So we put all the like important information that we're gonna put on the like flyer. So that she decided to show the flyer of Toronto, which is like after they won a prize in Cannes for the best screenplay. But we had the same for Berlin, but it was written only a chronique written and directed by Michel Franco, and that's it. And not completed, but a script available.
And as we can see, Cannes didn't go so well, apparently.
Alors, why did you say that, Jean? This is really interesting, because available.
That's available territory is down there.
But I mean, it's we're going to discuss after in the chronology of the film, but yeah, that's why we decided to put this one in, actually.
One of the things you mentioned that, and did you show the same imagery on the same photos, the same stills on the Berlin and Cannes lineup, or did you pick some other images to also convey kind of different nuances of the film, or
I mean,
what decisions?
I think in Berlin we did not use the same, or maybe in Berlin we used the same, in Cannes we changed, and then we've been back. You have to know that even the decision like this, we received like, I don't know, 3 or 4 examples from our marketing team, and they are asking us like, choose one of them and tell me which one you prefer. I remember that at this time of the discussion, I said, this one is better, because if you are looking like this, you don't know that the guy is almost dead, which is fine, because at the beginning they wanted to have a picture of someone lying on the bed like this with a tube everywhere. So I think it's more complicated, and we wanted to have like a bright photo, the one with the strangers actually, but the one when they are in the bar. So we wanted to show like the 2 sides of the film. So this is what we sent, not exactly this one, to Berlin, to our buyers. Especially, we focused on the people that bought Después de Lucia, of course. This is something that you have to say, like call them and saying, you know, we have the new Michel Franco, you should have a look on it, I will send you the scripts, only to you, blah, blah, blah. Which is not true sometimes. I mean, sometimes it's true, but sometimes not. But you can definitely do that. Anyway, so in Berlin you arrive like this. You start your meeting with someone who has done the homework, meaning reading this, and if they are from Belgium or from Germany, sometimes they're reading the script. And not from Latin America, definitely, never.
Yeah, it sounds like a joke, but it's not. No?
Yeah.
So.
Or UK also. The English people are reading.
Yeah. But they don't read.
So.
I mean, if you guys are looking at this flyers, I mean, some of you have seen this before or created them. Is this a type of information you would expect to be on there, or is this something where you would think, oh, my film would be presented differently? What are feelings on that?
So if everyone agree, that's cool.
Okay, all right.
Sorry, no question.
Yeah.
In this case, the director was known, right? I mean, if
Yeah.
you have a first-time director, you should present it in a way to play.
When it's a first-time director,
Yeah.
we are. When it's a first-time director, normally we are waiting for the selection in a festival. So, or we are launching the film once the film is already selected, and we arrive on the market with the selection. So it's easier in a way because we're gonna have, as you say, the visual thing that we're gonna use during the whole festival. Or we picked up some picture like this if we think it's strong enough to be like that on a lineup. But it's like, you know, in this one, even if Michel Franco was not well known, it's more about Tim Ross, who is the cast. That's why also we used this one, because we can identify Tim Ross. So even if Michel Franco already has a name because of Después de Lucia, you have some distributor, for example, in Asia, who didn't know him at all, but they know Tim Ross. So they can like directly on this flyer see like, okay, Michel Franco, ah okay, why not, un certain regard, ah but that guy I know him. So this is also why sometimes, even if the director is important, when you can use a cast like this, you're using until the end.
So since this was a flyer from the first market after the launch, you added something else to it.
Yeah. So as Jean really nicely said, we did not sell a lot. Thank you. And so sometimes, even if the film has a price or if it has not, and the film is released somewhere or has been screened in some festival, you have the press. And this is also interesting to use the press to sell a movie. So in this one you can see like you have specialized press such as Screen Daily, Variety, and you have The Guardian. So this is what we use somehow, so to use like a specialized press, and then we try to use in certain country like a strong newspaper and to take some quotes from them.
So the poster.
Do you have some questions so far or not? Because we start with yeah, don't you?
In the one before,
yeah.
Don't you say the length of the film?
No, alors this is a question. Like all this information here, we are always discussing this in the team. What kind of information we can put, what kind of information we can withdraw in a way, and the length. This is a discussion because if you put the length of this one, you have to put the length of all the titles in the catalog. The problem is, as I said yesterday, you know, the length could be a problem in some territory, and I don't want to like show it like this directly, because I don't want to be a no-go for some people, and so they don't read at all because they, oh no, it's too long, and I pass like that. I prefer to give a chance to the film, even if it's too long, because it could be a crush for someone. And so that's why we decided not to put this kind of information. Same thing with the language. You know, yesterday I said the language is important. We don't put it here because somehow it could be complicated for some territories, and we don't want to be a no-go on like that.
So especially if it's not English language.
Yeah, of course. So yeah, so this one, so with Chronic we arrived in Berlin with the extract. We made some sales. Not so much, but mainly to the distributor who took the previous ones. And then we arrive in Cannes with the film selected, so of course it can help to move the sales.
Did you have the impression that some distributors bought the film less because they liked the film, but more because they want to continue working with the director?
Yeah, definitely. You have like a lot of people wanted to continue with Michel Franco. Some other jumped on it because Michel Franco and because English speaking. And then I remember I saw the film in Cannes at the beginning before the screening after the screening to a Korean distributor because she loved it because her mother was sick. So sometimes you have like, it depends, you never know what's gonna be a decision maker in the head of buyer. And yeah, you have like all the case.
So you said you came on board the project quite early. So then come film is finished, come poster time. You said you had the producers, they came up with some suggestions for the posters, right?
Yeah, so that was before Cannes, and this poster was the one submitted by the producer and director. So imagine that you guys are some buyers, you are in the market, you know Michel Franco, it's a new film. Do you buy the film based on the first poster? So this is the moment where you have to take a decision. So the idea is definitely not to lie about the film. You want to do something beautiful, but you don't want, what you really don't want is that it could be a rejection from the buyer. And the first one was definitely the effect.
Can I ask a question? Because I mean, having seen his previous films, he's not exactly a comedy director.
No, definitely not.
Okay, having seen his previous films, he's usually doing provocative, very dark films. Okay, so I don't know how the previous films performed. Because this is somehow in line with what he's been doing so far, no?
So far was Desprez before,
yeah.
And like in a pitch and in a poster, it's easier to sell Desprez than a chronique. Anyway, because you say it's talking about young people that are like with the nowadays life and the internet thing and stuff. This one, it's complicated to say it's about old people who are dying. It's really a question of the where it's situated in the life, maybe. So no, of course I'm not selling a comedy right now, and I know that it's definitely not the opposition that I wanted to show. It's more like not to create a rejection anyway. So the first one was a no-go directly. The second one was like, we were wondering, I remember that I was more into this one. The third...
why did you, for example, the second one, why was that a no in the end? What were some of the criteria that killed it?
They didn't like the arm, and she was, I don't know, I don't remember why they didn't like it at the end. What was the last one?
No face of the star.
Yeah, no face, of course. Yeah. And yeah, the important thing is that we wanted to have Tim Ross, of course. Yeah. Anyway. The third one was like more thriller kind of poster. So. And the last one, he looks dead. Yeah, but it was also, I remember we were saying that it's more like a series, kind of a series poster, more a TV show than a film.
And these posters that the producers send you, was that something that you encouraged them to do, or that you always ask your producers to do, or it's something they kind of organically do?
This is definitely something that we ask at the beginning, like, because you don't know and you have to ask, and as you have to double check with them and they have to approve everything all the time, it's easier sometimes to say like, do you have an international poster? No? Okay, let's do it alone. anyway, international poster at the end, we are doing it by our own. So this is what we use at the end. So you have the face, you have like the idea of he's carrying someone and stuff. And voilà.
You have the quotes, you have the laurels.
How important do you think it is to stay in the poster and the trailer loyal or fair to the actual movie? And how do you balance that with actually selling the movie?
But because you know, you can, if you're lying, you can lie once. And the next market, if you are saying like, no, it's very funny, you will say, come on. You tried last time, and the balance is that, of course, for example, it happens a lot with action, because you know that the action in movies works a lot in a lot of territories. So sometimes in some film that we are pushing the action side more than the, like, I don't know, drama side in the trailer. So if the film is 50-50 drama action, in the trailer it could be 75 action, and yeah. So you can push the button.
So let's look at some of the, so this is what distributors were able to get from you as part of delivery.
Mm-hmm.
And then here are some examples of what different territories did with it.
So Mexican people, as you see, they like to describe really what happens with the title. So in case you did not get it, so it's the ultimo passaggio. Yeah, so everybody took the same.
Pretty much. There's slight nuances, but there's sometimes a little bit more dark at the bottom, a little bit more light.
So the Korea, so the one who took it because the mother is ill, you have to know that the Korean buyers made goodies for the film. Made goodies. So the market after, it was in maybe Berlin after, so Berlin 2016, she came in my office and gave me the goodies she created for the film. I was really scared because she told me I made some goodies, and I was like, wow, okay, so bandage, I don't know, like tubes. I really wondered what, but no, it was a calendar.
Countdown.
Yeah, countdown.
Which has now become a collector's item, I hear.
Yeah.
No.
I hope so.
Japan, I think Japan is also always a treat.
Yeah, sorry for Japan, because normally Japan it's more funny. Huh? You have like more colors, 3 images in one. Dogs, always, even if it's not in the film. So on this one, they were pretty like, I don't remember who was the Japanese one.
Okay. You guys, any questions on
You approve all the poster?
Yeah. You can miss sometimes, but we approve the poster. And also what we call the billing block, you know, the very little things written like that. So you think it doesn't, nobody pay attention. No, you have to know that you have like a Bible like this of all the, how you can write it, who you can write on the top, and maybe if you go, like here, for example, Tim Ross, you see, it's the only name you have on the top of the poster. If you do something like that, you have to have the approval from us that we have from the producer, because if Tim Roth is here, we have to make sure that Michel Franco didn't ask to appear at the same size as the bigger name that appear on the poster. You have always like this. So when it's like Tim Roth, which is the only one big names, when you have like a cast of 10 names, it's a nightmare. Because if you decide to put one in the first place, you have to make sure that he is allowed to be in the first place and not after anyone. Like Catherine Deneuve, for example.
She always has to be the biggest and only?
Because of the agency, she has to be like, if a name appears somewhere, her name should be attached also.
Have you had cases where distributors kind of freestyled it and used posters that were not approved?
It happens a lot, but or they send it for approval, but they already released the film. But no, in like main territories, it's a real process. You need to have approval. You have the date of the release. You have everything, and we have like a marketing team which is really tough with that, and they ask for all the material that can be used in the territory. But you have sometimes you are missing things where, I mean, yeah.
Shall we look at the Brazilian a little bit?
If you want a totally different one. So, Commons Nosso Space, which was the latest trailer that you saw. It's a Brazilian title that was in Berlin last year, this year, last Berlin. We decided to be on board once the Berlin selection was announced and the film was in Panorama. So Eva, who's at the head of Wild Bunch, was following the producer for a while. They are like a quite big producer in Brazil, and so they decided right after the selection, okay, we are on board on this one, we're gonna take it. We all saw the movie, they sent a link at that stage, and we decided, okay, maybe we can do something. It is interesting to work with the producer and with the director, and with a film in Panorama. So, Berlin is in February. I think we decided to take it like in January, end of January.
Okay, so compared to Chronic, where you had 12 months to coordinate and gather and control and strategize, here you have 3 weeks before we get to the festival? Okay.
And we were not scared at all. Now, at this stage, you are only taking what the producer is sending to you, and you have no choice because you are on a rush. So we were asking to have some stills, of course, that we received. They are very little, so this is the one we saw all the time. From these stills, we had to make a poster, so the international poster that will be used, and also we are making some big poster like this that we have in our office in Berlin or any market, and it's really for us. All our office is full of poster, so it could be the official one, it could be some others because we liked it and we decided to go on with them. So this is the idea of the film. So when you see that, you're like, okay, it's something about the family, but focusing on a woman, and they love each other, but maybe they don't really love them. And she is asking her, do I love him? You see, so you need to have the main ideas of the film from the picture you have in front of you.
And with this particular film, did you have a large selection of stills?
No.
Or what is large and what is small, or what is essential?
Small is like working with Gaspar Noé, having one picture of him. Then large is like having all the image of the film that has been taken out of the DCP, which happens.
So somewhere in between?
Somewhere in between is like 20, you can, it depends on the film. When you have a very large cast, of course you have like more large selection. So we arrive in Berlin, same page as the one you just saw before, with on the right-hand corner the panorama, saying it's a screen there. You have the market screening and stuff like saying, guys, go to see the film. And what the director did before, and etc. So as you see, we are using the image that was in the selection. And I don't know, there is nothing to say more. You should, no.
I think we added this in.
Ah, yeah, sorry, I thought it was the end. Sorry, so yeah, before the market, we are sending the lineup and also sometimes some newsletter to give information about a particular movie, or I don't know, anything like in Cannes we are sending a special mail with all the date of the screening and everything, so it depends. On this one, so we send the lineup and also the screening of Like Our Parents, which was the only film that we had in Berlin. Voilà. And this is the poster that we used to launch the film in Berlin. So this one was discussed also with the producer, but it's not based on what the producer sent us.
So we'll go into that.
Yeah, which was this one. So it's quite not the movie we are selling. But we took it, like my colleague from Eastern Europe took this one for her office because she was like, if I have this one in my office, if the guy enter into my office and say, what is this movie? Can I know more? Because if they have the face of the girl and the panorama selection for Czech Republic, it's maybe more complicated. But this way, it's a way to maybe attract for some territories. So we just printed it for one office.
Get all the guys to see it, basically. Okay, let's look at the how you arrived at this at the poster.
Yeah, because the producer sent us.
Yeah, how does one do that? How?
No.
El chiste, boluda.
So as Fernanda said, one tends to work with agencies. Okay?
Yeah. So this is what the agency sent to the producer, and that's what he sent to us. So because as we said, we had very short time to make all this. So of course we were helped here with the producer.
And it's typically something that you create posters in-house, or you work also mainly with external agencies? Or
external agencies, yeah. Okay. And with the one we are working a lot with, so it's...
Okay. So then, do you want to talk us through the process? How like, what is...
No, I think it's easier, like you guys, when you're presenting your project, you are always taking like a benchmark of the other film where it could be linked to. And of course, for all the decision in marketing, you are doing the same. So here is what they use to, because of the type of the movie, because of the color of the poster, because of a lot of things, here is the influence they took to create the marketing around the film. So we arrived here. So.
No, it was the Brazilian one.
Yeah. So even the typo, you know, of the title, you use different things.
Sorry, can I ask, is this also something that they were doing for their domestic distribution?
At this stage, yeah. Because the domestic here was Imovision, and but he was not. I think I talked to him. No, he was surprised to see our poster. I remember, because it was definitely not the same. But yeah, they were talking closely. So it's like maybe more Mexican.
So very different. Huh?
You know, it's a different process in all the companies. In Wildbutch, what we are doing is that we are printing all the tests, putting it on the floor, and everybody is around and picking up what they prefer, and then we discuss. Sometimes we fight, and it's a great process. Italian.
What Japanese?
Ah oui, Japanese. So the picture we saw.
And then, so from all these selections that people send to you, you narrow it down. You say, okay, we like this, we want a little bit more of this.
Yeah, it's interesting discussion because we are very different in the office. We have different advice and whatever. And I know that sometimes the picture is like a poster is really beautiful, but we are like, yeah, but we are not selling an exhibition. It's a film. So, like the one with Tim Ross, I say, oh, it's more a TV show than a movie. You have also to give the idea to someone. Yes, I'm having a movie in front of me, not a picture of a family or like an exhibition or a pic from a really nice holidays. So you have to keep in mind that you are talking about a movie that you want to sell to someone, which is a distributor. It's not someone who's going to pay the ticket, it's someone who's going to pay much more to sell tickets. So it's really a different way of discussion. So like a typical example I always use is for the promo and trailer, because I used to see to show to my friend a promo we had for a thriller. The promo was Rabid Dogs. It was in Cannes 2 years ago. The promo was really long, and at the end of the promo, you discovered that the good guy actually was the bad one because he killed the girl. And they were like, yeah, you ruined the film. I said, no, but it's not a promo for someone who's going to buy the ticket. It's like a marketing I use to someone to buy the film. So it's definitely not the same way. And it's the same for poster and like the lineup. Yes.
So you use different material for the buyers, I mean for the distributors, to sell the movie to a distributor than the posters or the plays that are used to sell the movie in theaters, for example?
Yeah. Sometimes it's the same. Like we saw Neruda, like some use the same one. Sometimes it's completely different because, as I said, when we are thinking about the international poster at the beginning, is because we want to sell it to professionals, and also after, because the domestic release of the film could be different from Japan to Brazil. So, I mean, I trust my distributor, and if he decides to do something that stick to the audience.
Do you have experience in the last years, of selling the movies to Netflix or Amazon, like worldwide deals, or how did it affect, like, not each market differently, something all together, or this kind of expertise or experience?
But like we are talking about the marketing thing. If I adapt my marketing tools to Netflix, if it's the question, it's not. I mean, I have my marketing tools. I'm using exactly the same if Netflix decide to buy it at the end. So you mean after, when they bought it?
Yeah, no, my question is, for example, in the second movie, the Brazilian, I read that all the rights were available,
Yeah.
except from Brazil. That maybe...
Well, at the end we sold it a little.
But no,
no, but it was
the market,
yeah.
Everything was available, maybe was more attractive for some VOD platforms that,
yeah, of course.
In the other case, that you have already sold many territories.
But you have to know that now, when you're a sales agent and you are on board of a completed movie like that, when you are on board for a film that is completed, which is finished, and that you have the whole world except the production territory, of course you're thinking about Netflix first, and of course you are sending the email like, hey, I was thinking about you because I have this. You have less and less answers for this kind of thing, unless it's a big crush. But of course you are thinking about Netflix on the first stage. And if you don't have an answer for Netflix before the market, you continue the sale as usual.
All right, so then you narrowed it down with the... Okay, so you narrowed it down with them and decided you like...
Yeah, so you say Versao dos, Familia. So after the first discussion, you're like, okay, maybe we want to focus on the idea of filiation, family, and stuff. So this is why then the other will be stuck in this one.
And I think there's another
one. Yeah.
So it's a process of narrowing it down and down and down and down until you feel.
And of course, in the middle, you can change your mind. Thank you.
Question. I mean, your producers here, they delivered, they provided you some posters that were quite different from what ended up being the international poster. Were there any issues about that, or were they confident that your knowledge of the international market outside of Brazil would probably be...
But if they are smart producer, they trust the sales agent. Otherwise, you don't need to have a sales agent. If you are giving money to someone who has to take care of your film abroad, you have to trust him in a way. So it happens that we are in conflict with some decision, and it's always a question of discussion, but normally we don't really have big problems with that. I think you're the same with Funny Balloon. It's always
yeah, no, definitely, I agree. I think it's for me it's good. I always try to have a previous idea of what I think before I sit down with the sales agent to talk about. Even I always had my own poster, but I know that yeah, I have to trust the sales agent on all this. I always ask, like, I just want to understand why you want to defend this idea, because of course I consider it's my film at the same time. But yes, definitely.
No, of course you need to have argument. You won't say like, no, because I prefer it. You need to say like, yeah, but I think that it's too dark, so maybe we can push the button more on the machine.
Yes.
I mean, also Agustina or Fernanda, how does that resonate when you see, okay, first you come to agreement, compromise, very happy solution on the international poster. Then it comes to things, I think the Korean teaser poster was a good example here. It's totally different than what you ever imagined it could be or it should be. How do you navigate those waters?
Me? I never sold a film to Korea, so I no. We always do our posters, really, of our films, and then we share them with the sales agents. But it never happened to me that they changed the poster we were having for festivals. Then the territories, yes, they do. But we find out that when they are published or when someone brings it to our office from abroad. I mean, it's not something that is coming all the time, you know. It's like more... Like,
how important is that for you, that it's kind of true to what you've created or not?
It is a lot for me, but more for the director than for me.
Yeah, for me, I took it like, it's not funny, but it's like, when you have an idea and then you see another completely different, it's like, I always try to keep it as a, and if I have a lot, I like it, I enjoy it. I don't take it in a wrong way, because they know their own markets. It's the same like, even it's more delicate with your own territories, that you really have a lot much to say or think, or I think it's more difficult there than.
Is that your experience, Emily? The responses you get from the producers you work with?
It depends. This is always the same.
Okay. Great. Agustina, let's move on to you. Do you quickly want to...
¿Puso Mutanta otra vez? Mutanta. Mutanta Cine is Mutante Cine, but it's in German. We're starting bad, no?
It was better before that. It was
Mutante. She put another one. Mutanta, ta ta ta. No sé. Well, Mutante Cine. The case I'm going to present here is a case that has nothing to do with these two. It's a very small film with no important cast and with non-sales agents. So we took this case just to make a different example and a very Uruguayan one. So the film is called Las Olas. It's not this one. You have to go very up. The first thing I'm going to do is to introduce the the director. Okay.
Maybe,
sorry,
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but maybe this is also, rather than saying it's completely different, it's almost like one step before of where Fernando was, whereas you're at the very beginning and thinking about, okay, what can we do, and whether this, what you created in the end, it could have gone to a sales agent or not. It's sort of two different directions.
You mean but she was with the sales agent from the beginning. This was a film that in the genesis was conceived in a different way. Now I'm going to there. But well, the director is the same director as Gigante. This was his first film. This is the catalog, this is the material we're now doing for our catalog in Mutante with Fernando. It's not the thing that we presented in Berlin where the film was. It's something we are preparing now, okay? So here's like more like a marketing tool. If you go down, we can see that this film was with the Match Factory, the sales agent, and it was sold in all these territories, and it went to all these festivals and won these prizes. So it was a very good film. It did well, beautiful. Then, second film of the same director, El Cinco de Talleres. That's a co-production with Jean here also. This we shot it in Argentina. These two actors are kind of well known there. Julieta was in Relatos Salvajes, so she's maybe well known. This was screened in Venice Film Festival, and it was like a bigger film than Gigante was in terms of cast, in terms of production, in terms of money, in terms of co-producers. And so and then in the second page you have the territories, and the festival it went to. This is the international poster we used for the festivals, and the one before this one was the one that they did in Argentina for the distribution in Argentina. And it was the one that most of the distributors that bought it used, the picture one. Okay. Then it comes The Waves. So The Waves is a film that in its conception, it was like something we wanted to do with the director in a very small way. It's a film that it's been shot with 8 people on set, in our houses, with our kids, with our everything we could grab, and with almost no non-funds, just a fund from the Institute in Uruguay and a co-producer in Argentina with the funds of Argentina, okay? So it's only two producers, and it was conceived in that way, okay? So we did this because if you start imagining the career of this director, that he started with a film that was very successful, then he did El Cinco that was bigger, you immediately think, well, maybe the next film is going to be bigger, or it's going to be, and it was just the other way around. It was like coming back to the starting point, and starting with a film that can be done with your friends. So we did this because the director, it was his urge as an author to do this kind of thing, and we thought it was good for us to be with him and share this with it. So I don't know if it was a good decision as a producer, in financial terms. Of course, it wasn't. But but then, well, when we finished the film, it was now screened in San Sebastian this year. So it's just been released. What happened? When we were selected, we started to look for a sales agent. And the film is a very difficult film to sell. They always say that, all the sales agents say that about every film, but this one is particularly very difficult to sell. And we knew that in advance. We knew what we were dealing with. It's a film that not even my mother would go to watch it, I guess. But, so what I'm describing is a thing that we knew what we had in hands. So it wasn't difficult for us to listen to the rejections of the sales agents we approached. But what we did is we approached only 5 sales agents that we thought maybe were the ones for the film. Ones were the ones we worked before with, not necessarily with the same director, but with other films that we thought they were the size or the profile for this one. They say it's the most original thing I've seen in the last 5 years, but I won't sell it to no one, and I don't connect with this or that or whatever. So after the 5th one, we said, maybe it's not the way. Maybe we should, as we did it, the way we did it, and as we know what will happen with this film, maybe we should do it for ourselves. And so we decided to sell the film. No? This was in September, was San Sebastian. We didn't sell it yet to no territory still, but well. And so what we did in order we have very few weapons. San Sebastian is not a big, it's a big festival, but it's not a place where all the market is there, and it's not Cannes, it's not Berlin. But there were like few meetings that we could have and a few things that we could tackle in order to make the film a little bit known around. So if you go, let me think, what is that? This is the places where it was invited now. Since San Sebastian, it went to these festivals. And this is the territories. And Uruguay is missing. In the territories. But they were territories that were the co-producer, and the other territories that were sold before the film started. So what I did is I called John Hopwell, the guy from Variety, and I said, well, the only thing, because I won't have money to pay press, not to be in the magazines, not to do anything. So I asked him for an interview. He interviewed us with some things. Mutante Cine launches fully fledged distribution arm and whatever, and she loves it. So exclusive, not, okay. So then in all the thing here, it says that we are very, we managed to do the sales of this film, and we are with this new branch of distribution and sales within our company, and he put a lot of flowers. And that was very exciting that the producers are now trying to sell their films. So after this, that is just like a detail and a daily that comes on the festival. Every day he publishes some things happening in the festival. I received a lot of emails asking me, oh, you're selling the film, and what is the film about? And so this little thing was good. It was like a way of drawing some attention on the film, within the company, on the film, and on the other things we were doing. And the other, and this was a joke, but it's real. The other thing we did was we printed a marketing tool, stupid marketing tool that I love, like your Korean people. It's like, we did this, that Susana has one here. And I gave them to all the programmers and friends and beautiful women and men I found around, so they used them all around, and it was like funny that if, I don't know, the girl from Berlin is there, or you know, it's like, it was funny. I enjoy these kind of things. They're stupid, but I enjoy them, and they, after you have them, everyone wants them, so it's nice.
Can I have one?
Yes.
Cool.
You want one? It works. I don't know.
Yeah, next steps or?
No, and then next steps. Now, what I think what we are getting now, or to the place I'm getting now with this sales strategy, is that I'm connecting some people for some territories. So it's like a middle place. Like, for example, there were like 2 or 3 sales agents that know that they have some specific territories they can sell it. So now I'm in the way of making these deals for 3 or 4 territories to let them sail in these 2 or 3 territories. Very specific,
like,
because
like
a middle intermediate. Yeah, like no, like they are. Some of them are worldwide, but they have some places that they think they can sell it. So now I'm like in the middle of signing an agreement for, like, for example, 6 months in these territories.
Okay.
So like a first chance to sell it, and if it doesn't work, it comes back to me and I can do it again. And it's not, of course, there's no MG, there's no money in advance, there's no expenses, you know, it's more like a trustable thing where they can try these things that they know, but if it doesn't work, it comes back to me and we can find a way. This is one of the things we are trying, and the other one is, of course, the ones that bought the other films of the director of our company, and we do a lot of these deals with because I want the film to be watched, you know, of course. So, for example, in Colombia we have an exhibitor that we do this deal with him, and we go half and half with the box office. You never get nothing, but well, at least the film is there and you can show it, and the director can travel and whatever. For this film, I think it will work because I have no expectation of worldwide sales, but it's not something that I will do with others. You know, it's like very specific. But I think that that it works in terms that there's not a sales agent with a profile that can really, that I know that can really put this in the back, because they won't get the money back.
How were the sales agents responding to your suggestions when you came essentially with deals that are a lot more flexible and possibly more in your favor than in theirs?
No, because there were people that were interested in the director or in working with our production company, so it was okay, because it's not a very hard work for them, because the deals are deals that they already had and people they already are intimate with. So it's not like, you know, it's not like, it's just they put it in the box with others and they present it like that.
So at the end, you would say maybe your expectations for the film, how it would perform, was somewhat in line with what you had in mind, or?
Well, we still didn't sold it to one country, so no, I have a little higher expectations. But I also know that it's been launched in September, so I mean, it can, and we are still contacting people. It's not that we did it, because one of the problems is that as we are producers, we don't have time to do, or it's not our business to do the sales, so it's not that easy to find the way and to find the time and to find the right things to do. You know, it's kind of complicated. So it's not something I recommend for everything, but in this case, I have more expectations on the festival career of the film than on the sales. So.
But it's sold to CIS Baltics, no?
Yes, but he buys all of my films.
Well, you always need one of those.
No, take out that. It's embarrassing.
I want to zoom in on that one.
Put the poster.
International poster.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a poster we use.
Okay, let's.
Yes, no, but it's interesting the poster because it's a draw.
Yes,
and sometimes
it's the initial animation. It has like an animation at the beginning and then.
And it's nice to have this because I know that sometimes we are using this graphic kind of things, and I think sometimes it's a good solution when you don't have the picture you need.
It's always a chance.
What about, I mean, of course, everyone, yeah, what about Netflix? It's a good, but what specifically about Netflix? How many subscribers do they have? You know, like, I don't know, what?
But do you have Netflix?
Yes.
Yeah. And do you check the films that are on Netflix? You're more into series or films on Netflix? Because if you are checking like very specifically the film that on Netflix,
this one won't.
This one doesn't really stick to the lineup of Netflix right now. No, but this is a real question because, of course, everybody like we are all thinking about Netflix, but you have to also stick to the reality of Netflix, which is this is a huge company which are buying things that like most of the people will watch. And if it's complicated to go to a festival with this kind of film, it's also complicated to be in a mainstream VOD platform. So sometimes it happens, the crush and everything, we can have like examples like that. But the main situation is that no, Netflix won't pick up the film. Neither like Chronique or Comonoso Space. It's but like, Mexican comedy.
If they did, let's say they picked up Chronic, they would probably ask you for I mean, you would have gone through the same process with the producers of creating the materials, positioning the film in the market, and materials that you would have delivered to Netflix because they are a distributor like all other distributors that you work with as well. So maybe, you know, they would adapt it like local distributors would, and then probably with the focus on USA and rest of the world. However they do that, I don't know. But the process to get there is probably similar.
And there's a case, at least one that I know, an Uruguayan movie that after they did all this festival round and they had a constellation, and after that, like 5 years, they sell themselves to Netflix. And it's a small Uruguayan movie. So
But the same agents say the same way that possible to say it.
And they made the deal 5 years after to Netflix? Yeah, so it's considered as a library deal, which is definitely not the same amount of money, because we are not talking about a fresh film, it's not an exclusivity and stuff, and we are also dealing like this with Netflix, it happens, but in a way it works like any kind of other VOD platform in that way. The only different thing is that it's brought like everywhere, or you know, it's geo-blocked. So we can make also some deal in Netflix, but not France, not Germany, not I don't know. Yeah, we used to do it, but territory per territory, and not in a very global way. Or if we are doing, you know, because when you're talking about library title, it has been sold already somewhere. So you have to make a list of the clear available territories. So yeah, it happens. And like the one we did is to like identify title, not small one that nobody knows. Amazon?
Apple?
I never talked to them.
What else? It can't be that you don't have a single question.
I know why this is a common way to make. Do you know why you choose this kind of poster? I see it's very difficult to some people to feel attracted or motivated to go to the cinema or see this kind of movies, this kind of posters. I know that.
You're asking me?
Yes.
Ah, okay. Why do we use this animation, or why do we like drawings? No, this is really part of the film. It's like the film is like a concept, you know. It's a guy that gets into the water, and each time he gets out, he's in another summer of his life. And it's not chronological. He's always 39 years old, and so he meets with his parents, then he meets with his friends. So really, to make a poster of that, it was like Alfonso's face or the beach or whatever. And we thought that this, like the island and the guy that was swimming, each time getting out and in and out, we thought it was like the concept of the film. So and also, you know, we didn't have a cast that everyone will recognize internationally, and we thought the image was like it's like clear, you know, and you read it well, and it's like maybe kind of intriguing. And we always have this problem with illustration that everybody is saying, but it looks like an animation, because we did Tanta Agua was an illustration, El Cinco was an illustration, this one was an illustration. So
that decision to use within a festival or B2B context?
I think that in the festivals, the people that go are more aware that if they see a drawing, it's not necessarily an animation. So you can play a little bit more. And also, I think that someone has to watch the poster and like it, you know, more than... So the elements for us, if you don't have cast, if you don't have a big name, are like, how can I impress that? And I think that the waves works. It did. Everyone looks at the eye, it's nice. It's an island and a swimmer, and I don't know. But it's like kind of, it tackles you something like intriguing for me.
Do you...
I don't know. So it works.
Yeah. Really interesting. Yeah.
But what?
And when you create these posters, do you go through endless rounds?
This one, no, was really like very, yeah, because it was it was part of the film, and so the guy who drew it. My first plan was that we couldn't do it because it was very expensive, was to do this with, do you know these things that when you watch the guy swims? Yeah. I wanted to do that with a guy swimming, and the roots were doing like this. It was beautiful, but it was very expensive. So then we tried we did postals, postcards, but you know, it was a film very cheap. No one, I didn't get paid, and so doing these things was like, so the hats, yes, because the local government paid for them, and it was like, but I mean, it was a lot of investment so on.
It's also a cost-effective way of starting
nothing.
Out.
Are you planning on using it when you release it theatrically?
What, the postcards, like the posters, the what, these? This? This poster. Yes, but I'm planning a release that it's like this size for the people I know that will come to watch it, maybe three times a week at 11 o'clock in the evening. It's very, very, don't laugh. It's very, no, I know the audience that can go here, and it won't be more than 2,000. So I will do it for those people. Yeah. Who is the audience? Friends, family. No, it's like that won't pay the ticket. No, but no, really. It's like maybe people from 20 to 40. that likes, sorry? So, no, he doesn't serve. No, it's like very author films. Like we had one film that's called Hiroshima that was from Pablo Stoll, it has like I think the same kind of audience. It's like really like groupie people more than. Less than 2,000 and more than 500.
This is from us. So thank you guys very much. We're around. If there are any questions, come hit us up and go forth and make it. No? So, thank you.
Thank you.
Netflix. I was like, what about no?